show. I am so excited to have my guest here, Chelsie Esek, and we were just talking about how her last name is about to change. So don't get too comfortable with that. Yes, ma'am. We're so excited about that, and we're so excited to celebrate her in November. Chelsie, I've met Chelsie in graduate school. We both went to Howard University. So this is a very full circle moment for me. I'm just so happy to have you here on the show about Black SLP magic and also just overall what it's like to be a Black SLP and the Med SLP.
Yes, I'm so super excited to be. Melanie and I go way, way back, and I'm super proud of you. I just want to give you your flowers, Mel, for keeping pediatric speech sisters alive. I'm super excited to get into all the tea today.
Oh, yes, we are ready for the tea. So the first thing is I'm going to go ahead and read your fabulous bio. If there's anything I missed, please correct me. Chelsie Esek graduated magna cum laude from Howard University with her S in Communication Sciences and Disorders. She is board certified SLP, primarily working in acute setting, taking her fabulous scrub. She adopted the love and ambition to become a medical SLP and strives to address the needs of her community. Chelsie is the founder of Black SLP Magic Conference, which is to connect with the needs of Black professionals, students, and individuals with communication disorders and differences. Black SLP Magic Conference continues to bridge the gap between social media advocacy and the continuous fight in standing against racism, discrimination, intolerance, health disparities, and underrepresentation that continue to plague Black and Brown communities in Black professions. This all-day conference will include a variety of panel discussions with renowned individuals from the field of speech pathology and audiology, in addition to educational workshops, discussion sessions, and data gathering. Our conference agenda will allow participants to network in time. This event offers continuing education credit, get those CEUs, y'all, professional development, vendor booths, food, drinks, photo booths, complimentary gifts, music, networking, vibes, and a dance party. So all of this and more is the new safe haven for us. All inclusive with a ticket purchase, vibe, enjoy, network, learn, and feel safe, seen, and supported. She also graduated magna cum laude from the University of North Texas, where she double majored and received her Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance and Bachelor of Arts in Speech Pathology. So if you are listening to this now on live or watching the replay, go ahead and get that Black SLP Magic ticket. If you're not already convinced, y'all, go to blacklpmagic.com, 15% off with the code Speech Sister 15. Okay. And also they have accommodations for us. We can go ahead and get that group rate by October 15th. By October 15th. So Chelsie, did I miss anything at all?
No, you didn't. It's actually quite crazy to hear the journey like been through and hear this voice and verbiage, and it's kind of crazy. And I'm just always forever grateful. And the journey is still ongoing, right? I will say I'm almost 30, so I have to some yet still. And there's so much more to do. I always like, didn't miss me. Oh,
I mean, you already had me at the double major. I mean, that was honestly what I was told. So,
right.
well, if you just want to kind of just tell us a little bit about yourself, especially your why, like what caused you to join the profession, especially coming from the dance space.
Great. So pretty much I grew up in a heavily medical background family. I'm Nigerian American and so born my parents they migrated over from Nigeria and started a brand new life in Houston, Texas for their four children, including myself. My father double majored at Texas Southern University with his major was nursing and engineering. So that was kind of where I got I guess, the keen eagerness to do well in school. I think every Nigerian knows like you have to focus on your books, your books, your books. It's always important. So that was never not a doubt in our household. So my dad was engineer slash nurse. And then my mom was also a nurse. So growing up, they started a home health business. in Houston, Texas. So it was PT, OT, speech, nursing, hospice care, which is end of life care. They had everything. So growing up, I was always either behind a desk or doing clerical work. So I would always see the verbiage, see everything, know about medications, know about billing, know about all these things really early on. And so what drove me to speech was saying all that, right? Being exposed to those so many different disciplines, I was like, okay, I'm not cleaning poop. No shade to nurses. I love nurses. Can't survive without them. I didn't want to go to med school because it was too many years. Didn't want to do physical therapy because I just didn't want to be that close to people. And occupational therapy, I don't think I knew much about at the time. So then a speech therapist came in my mom's office and was like, oh, she was just saying something about swallowing. And I was like, what is she talking about? Right. Behind the desk, taking in intake forms. And then I just deep sea dived into it. And then I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Right. I also wanted to find something that could coexist with my bachelor's in fine arts degree in dance. So when I was researching what schools had both the duality of speech pathology and in dance, University of North Texas in Denton, Texas came up. And so that's how I fell into the realm of speech therapy, if you will. And so being a double major, my goal was to provide movement therapy within my sessions and just talk about how Parkinsonism can be with LSVT loud and melodic intonation therapy with language. And I just had this whole idea in my brain about, okay, I'm going to be a dancing speech pathologist. So that's why people who've been following me for a while on Esek know the dancing SLP, right? That was in my initial goal. But like plans and like a vision, it's okay for change. And so after some time, I realized like, oh wait, working in the field, there's not a lot of color. And I can't really relate to many of the other speech therapists or students, if you will, because there's not a lot of color. And that's when I fell into what I'm doing now, which is Black SLP man.
I love that. And honestly, thank you so much for being here. I also like how you said that it's okay for the vision to change. I think a lot of us get really bogged down about why we originally started, and that changes so quickly just as we evolve as human beings. So,
Right.
do you
Right.
still get to fit in your passion for dance somewhere, even if it's outside of speech?
Yeah, so I am a health freak. I used to be a Pilates instructor when I lived in Washington D.C. for a while. I was always like a dance teacher at some point in my career. I was a bar instructor, meaning like a ballet bar, kind of if you're familiar with like pure bar Pilates, or when you use kind of the bar to like push up and use gluteal exercises. So yeah, I work out every day. I try to, and it's not necessarily for health reasons per se, but that was just always my outlet, right? Like dance before going into college, I was always like dance majorette in elementary school. I was in dance studio since I was like 12 back in Houston. So I just knew that movement was always my friend. It was always my kind of mothering, if you will, right? Like movement would make my body feel good, especially in stressful situations during grad school, like I would just get up and just start like, okay, like I need to go walk or I need to get out or I need to get some sun or I need to go run. That's just me. That's just my personality. So not necessarily dance per se. I do take some classes every now and then. And I know dance has a lot of genres for those who are listening. Specifically, my genre was in modern and contemporary dance styles. So if I can't get that modern classroom studio setting, I would go off and do like a bar class or a fitness class just to get that compensating thing that I needed when I was stressed. So yeah.
Well, thank you. And honestly, I mean, I'm like, we got to have a whole other episode on how to incorporate that and how that helped you in stressful situations, even now at work, but especially graduate school for the grad student listening to this. But that's not why we're here today.
Right.
So you did mention how when you got in this field, you were a bit shocked that it wasn't a lot of Black SLPs. I know that you're coming from Houston, which from my experience in Houston was it's Black and Hispanic mainly. And so can you describe a little bit about that culture shock and what it's like for you as a Black med SLP?
So I will take it down a timeline of just where the shock was initially kind of felt. So I'm born and raised in Houston, Missouri City, Texas, Most City for whoever knows about Houston. And so I went to school in Denton, which is basically a town that's maybe so you got Dallas, right? So Houston and Dallas are 4 hours apart because Texas is huge. And then Dallas has this kind of its own metroplex with little cities around. And the school that I went to, the university, was PWI at the time. I think now they're trying to diversify, which is great. But at the time, I went to University of North Texas, which is in Denton, Texas, a very small country town, maybe like an hour out from Dallas. So there was where the culture shock initially happened. And I was like, okay, dance department was great. That was my safe haven as well because it was so many different races. It was inclusive. It was like, okay, everybody. That's kind of where I got most of my diversity experience from. However, when I would walk over to the graduate school, it was primarily Caucasian females in my classes. It was literally only three: Hannah McNeil, Jasmine Lavage, and myself, and Tola. We were the only four Black, if you will, students in the entire 4-year track. So that kind of was the first shocker for me, that I felt like my placement in speech was a little weird. Because I was like, okay, it's only four of us here. How will I be able to get a job? Right? Am I going to stay in Texas? XYZ, XYZ. So representation matters. The dean of our college at the time was the, I think, advisory board of Embosla, and he was also a Howard alum. And so I established a relationship with him, and I even invited him to one of my dance recitals. And I was like, Dr. So and so, like, how can I get into a college where I feel accepted? Because at the time, everybody, I think I applied to 7 schools. Out of the 7 schools, I got denied to 5 and got accepted to 2. And the 2 that I got accepted to were historically Black universities. So that's why I always and I talk to students, I say, you can reach high, but consider HBCUs because they're a little bit more accepting as far as their application process. That's another conversation. Mm. It's a Howard based off of representation, based off of communication with the team. I think I toured Howard based off of the dean of PWI sent a recommendation for me to go and tour. And then I was there. And so when I was at Howard, is where I got, Mel, the HU experience, which I was a different type of shock, which is a positive shock that caused me to build this community that I have now. I wouldn't be the acute care SLP that I am today if it wasn't for my professors who instilled in me, my mentors. And so with that, I kept that same idealism in the workforce because it was another shock, right? I throw so much at you and you just have to find ways to adjust and lean on people. I don't think life is meant to be done alone. And that's why I am so passionate about the conference and just about what my page stand for, me and Jordan. So when I got into graduated from Howard, all the things, got into the workforce, started to research, right? COVID hit us all, started to research heavy. And I was like, okay, so the math ain't mathing, right? In the field, 92% who? 8% what? 3% why? Er,
Yeah.
It's not adding up. So linking arms with the SLPs who I stay connected with, who were minorities in the Metroplex of DC, at UNT, my other previous university, that helped me get through what I faced during my time in the field, actually working. So with that, being a medical SLP, it's really hard sometimes because I see the inverse, where I see predominantly one race in the hospital beds, but the race that are treating them are a different color. So that really sucks because when it comes to being culturally considerate with decision making, right? When it comes to health disparities, when it comes to health literacy, that's kind of on the lower end when it comes to recommendations, when it comes to diet changes, when it comes to just overall medical care in general. Not saying that all therapists who are non-Black have the same lens, but it is a completely different lens when you see it and when you see it from the perspective of I'm Black and you're Black. I see you, right? Going back to the theme, which is representation matters. So with that, navigating that is a lot of education, right? Education with staff, education with patients, right? Education with just overall the field, just knowing, hey, just because we look a certain way doesn't mean that we accept what you're agreeing with, what you're recommending. So things like that, it really pushed my eyes to look really macro and not so micro. What I mean by that is I think when we're in graduate school, we really focus on, okay, how do we get the numbers? What therapy materials? What do we do? What is the goals? What is this? It's very, very goal heavy. But like you said, goals change and patients change, people's wants change, people's needs change, people's bodies change. So you have to be able to be adaptable. And what I see mostly for non-Black clinicians is it's not, there's no adaptability. It's one way only. And what I like to tell students is we're one small piece of an entire pie. And in order for you to fit your piece in, you have to talk to your patient and family about what their pie looks like before we even put our piece in there. So,
Mhm. I mean, that's a whole webinar, Chelsea, to be honest with you.
and listen, let me drink some water.
Right. That is a whole webinar. Well, let's talk about the story of Black SLP magic. What made you just start to design it? What was the inspiration? Who planted that seed?
Right. So the person who planted the seed, I will say, is my husband to be, Kennedy. Wonderful. And it started with my Instagram page, it exacerbated to what it is during COVID. COVID is where I think everybody was in the house researching different things. Black Lives Matter movement. People were very sensitive. People were introspective, looking at just the entire racial unjust in general.
Mhm.
I started doing these features every week on my page just to say, like, okay, let me put some light, right? And I kind of compare my page to Jordan's in a way because we're kind of like yin and yang. Jordan is the one that's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm calling out this person, this person.
Yes.
Me, I'm like, okay, well, positive vibes. Like, yeah, we're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about the beauty of Black. Like,
Yeah.
I like to show the light. And Jordan does too, but I'm just comparing, like, in the instance of how we started. Because a little side note is Jordan and I were actually roommates after we graduated. So we lived in DC together. And so that's kind of where our page started. I think it was one specific picture where we wore t-shirts that said speech pathologists matter. And from that, we kind of listed the statistics of what was going on at the time. And with that is when I started posting the Black SLP magic features on my page every Sunday. Kind of been slacking, but before for the last 2.5 years, I would post different SLPs and people are like, wow, I feel seen. Like, I love what you're doing. Like, I didn't know it was so many Black girls in the field. I didn't know it was so many minorities, brown girls. Thank you. Thank you. And so the feedback, I was like, oh, okay. So this is really working. There was one specific instance when I think, out of town or something, and I didn't really post any features that week, and then I got this long message from a student, and she was like, I was looking forward to your post because you don't understand how many times I wanted to quit doing grad school because I am only Black girl and nobody understands me. And I have met so many people from every time you repost them or post their pictures or their stories or their reels or whatever they're doing. And I felt that to the core. And I was like, oh, wow. So this is my mission. Oh, I have this because there's no one else doing this way, right? There's in Basla, there's the 8% Summit. There's so many new ones coming up. There's the AAC conference I saw the other day. There is Made for More SLP. There's so many, right? Which are all perfect. So I think keeping all of that relevant is so important. So going back to, how Black SLP started with the features and then husband to be was like, hey, I think you should decide to bring everybody in person. And I was like, what you talking? It's like, yeah, like all these people who you're featuring all the time, like I think it would be beneficial for you guys to bring social media to in person, like make the connection from social media to sisterhood. And I was like,
Mm.
cool, got it. Started the first one in DC, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. I was mind blown. I think afterwards, a lot of people don't know this, but I was literally after we left the venue, at the first conference in DC, I was just bawling my eyes out because I was overwhelmingly grateful. excited at the fact that people really trusted me, their time, they could have been anywhere else, their hard-earned money. These students who are in grad school, these professors who could be doing something else, it really invested time and energy to be here and to pour into others and network. That was something that I can never not say thank you for. Not even just about, you know, what is it getting what? I don't know. Whatever you want to put a label on it as you think Black SLP is, my why is the fact that people are just believing in it and actually gaining connections from it. Because I know what I felt like when I walked into the PWI and I had one connection. So imagine every year, first year we had 100, second year we had 250. I'm shocked. I'm honestly, I tell Jordan all the time, I'm so shocked that like people are believing in it and it's not for us, right? I'm as good as the next person. I'm as good as you, Mel. Like we're all one to me and my brain. But when I'm featuring these people, it's not to gain popularity or to gain followers. It's for you guys to gain connection and maintain these connections. I feel like we can't be in competition in this field because there's not a lot of us. It's not like what we can count on. What is it like 3.9% now? We're just hit the 3 years.
Get into the four, girl.
Creeping. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look
Right. Yeah.
at it. 3.9. Okay, that's something, right? And so it's no room for that for competition. So sometimes when I hear students like compare, like, okay, what is this conference versus this versus that? Like my professor said this or this. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's not a something that's going to detriment to you, take it as an opportunity to learn. Take it as an opportunity to, oh, okay, let me try this out, right? Try before you buy. There's one quote by Doc Rivers, and he was the previous Boston Celtic coach. He took them to, I think, championship like 3 times in a row or whatever, or something. But I love his philosophy, which is kind of my why to answer the question and close this question out. He says it's Ubuntu, and it comes from an African word. Ubuntu spelled Ubuntu. Translated, I forgot what language it comes from, but it's an African-based word, and it means I become because we are. And for me, that is exactly my why.
Mhm.
Black SLP magic wouldn't be a thing if there weren't us available. Philosophy is basically, I am as good as the next player. I am as good as Melanie Evans. I am as good as XYZ. When we are all strong, this builds trust and opportunity for us in general in life. So that's kind of the philosophy that I kind of structure the Black SLP Magic Conference on, that when we are at these conferences together, everybody should be gaining gems. Everybody should be in their bag. How can I help you get into your bag? That's why we also have vendors. How can I help you get to your financial goal with your company? Or how can I help you get more exposure on my page? How can I help you get into the grad school? How can I help you get your CFY in a medical setting? How can I help you start your private practice when you get out? I'm as good as the next person. I'm not here to compete. I'm going to keep saying this, and I always say it to every student. It's not enough of us to be in competition with each other. It's definitely not. Get that out of the picture right now. And I know that that energy kind of fosters sometimes when it's in a graduate school environment. But if you can lock on to those who look like you, who have the same, almost similar struggles with as you, imagine what two can do better than one. So,
Mhm. Yes, I want to second that as far as competition go. Because I think in the Black community in general, outside of speech pathology, there's a lot of crabs in the barrel mindset. And it's so sad because this comes from like even slavery. So we're breaking like generational curses here,
right.
right? We're breaking generational patterns. So I really appreciate you coming onto the show saying, y'all, listen, it is not a competition. It's not a competition. When you win, I win. When I win, you win. We can elevate each other.
Ubuntu. Period.
Mhm. Yeah, so I appreciate that you stand on those values in that mission at the Black SLP conference. Another thing I want to say is just the value and the beauty in community.
Yeah.
Y'all, if you when you watch this, please go to blackslpmagic.com. You will see the beauty, the beautiful smiles, the beautiful skin, everything that it has to offer, and everything that probably sadly your grad school isn't necessarily showing you that will honestly help keep you in the field and really help you feel seen.
Mm.
It just dawned on me that might be why Jordan called it SLP social scene.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
got
Yes. Social see. And that's like kind of our quote is safe, seen, supported. Yeah.
safe, seen, supported.
Yeah.
So I wanna ask, what feedback have you gotten in the past about Black SLP Magic?
So being a small business owner, you go through the ringer. I think the biggest thing for me was finding a big enough venue for all these people because I always underestimated myself. Like, oh, it's gonna be 50 people this year. 150, right? So
Uh,
just that I think would be just solidifying a more venue appropriate and accommodations for living or for just hotel. So thankfully this year that's what we received, right? So we have a hotel venue, don't have to worry about any catfish that we've had in the past. I'm not even gonna name what year, but yeah, sound system was crazy, all the things. So I was like, you know what, God, I got it, learned from it, moved on. And that was just mild feedback from me. But other feedback as far as the conference structure would be people loved it so much that they wanted time for breakout sessions. And I feel because there's so many panelists and there's so much that everybody wants to say in that short time hour that I didn't allow, or Jordan and I haven't allowed time to just like break out. Like, okay, let's talk about this. Like, what's your name? Let's network truly. So this year, Insight, we have 16 panelists. It's actually going to be released today. The reveal will come out today. And they're not all Black this year, and they're not all speech therapists this year. So those are the little tidbits. And yes, there will be room for breakout sessions. And yes, there is hotel. So
we love the growth, and I'm not gonna do any spoiler alerts because I was about to drop some names of people
yeah.
who said, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so excited to speak at Black SLP Magic," so I'll keep my lips sealed on that one. So let me ask you this, Chelsea, and then we will close out. What would you say is the bigger picture of Black SLP Magic moving forward in the future? Before you answer that question, I do want to say that Miss Alice is on here. Shout out to your fiance for planting that seed.
Oh,
Yeah, we said we love purpose partners. Like that is a
and
we, and that's why you had to give him the big I do. Okay.
oh,
The partner that's amazing by your side.
oh,
And also, Alice says to come to California and Arizona. We need you on the West Coast as well.
oh, yes. Stay tuned for next year. Next year's theme. And this year, so every year, if you guys don't notice, we try to do a theme. So second year was like disco, NOLA. This year's like Met Gala. So spoiler alert, next year is an all white party.
Oh, black and
Um,
white.
yes, so it's an all white party. I won't say where. I but yes, we're thinking West Coast this year. We gotta tap in. Next year, I'm sorry. We gotta tap in.
Okay, okay. So tell us what the big picture is long term.
Yeah, so long-term big picture for Black SLP Magic is to eventually my perfect vision would be for Black SLP Magic to be one of the major conferences for allied health in general. So I would love to work with ASHA to have ASHA as a corporate partner so we can say, hey, like, if they're not comfortable doing all of their CEUs at ASHA because of lack of representation, because of the statistical data of our field, how about we also say, oh, well, here's the conference for SLPs for minorities, right? I know in Basel, I think in the past they've had a similar type of situation. Even with that too, like partnering with Basel, partnering with ASHA, partnering with OTA, which is Occupational Therapy Association conference as well. They have one. Yeah. Just putting Black SLP Magic on the conversational pedestal with these things will be great because what's another option just in comparison to the one that we're normed, right? I think ASHA every year is in November. Why don't we just add other things? I saw another post earlier this week saying that speech pathology is very new, right? We're a very, very new field. So why can't we also adapt changes? And I hope one day that it will be maybe an Asian Pacific Islander conference or Hispanic Heritage conference. And maybe not even just call it a conference, but just somewhere where people feel like they're belonged in a way. And so that's just my goal. I just want to be a part of the conversations as far as other things that we can offer. And we're a little bit newer and hip. So we can bring in the millennial crowd and the millennial swag. Okay.
I am so very, very excited, Chelsea. Thank you so much for coming on and for all that you're doing for our community. I hope that everyone listening to this is inspired to not only go to Black SLP Magic, but also just to keep networking with people of color. Chelsea, I love the fact that you even mentioned that we're bridging the gap between social media advocacy and where we are now. That is amazing because I feel that that's really where it started,
Yeah,
this connection.
exactly. And I think, doing so much online is fine, but what can you do besides just commenting? How can you bring those comments into real life? How can you bring those comments into change? How can you bring those likes and repost into practical steps for change? So that's kind of what the conference does for us.
Well, Chelsea, I'll definitely be on the lookout for the panelist list so that way I can repost it on the gram. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we go?
No, but this was super fun. As you guys can see, I love to talk. This is kind of how I am at the conference too. And that's why I feel like the time just keeps going because I can just have it whole and then getting up, the around a roundabout circle. But if you guys want to reach me, you can reach me at Esek Health. That's ESEKHEALTH on Instagram. You can DM me. I'm quick on the DMs, or you could just email me at blackslpmagic@gmail.com. Besides that, this is a really good time. And Melanie, I'm so proud of you. Also, y'all, if y'all didn't know, Melanie's an ambassador too. So she's an ambassador for the
Yeah.
and the Social Scene Gala. It's Met Gala this year, so bring out your best fit. Come through. It's gonna be red carpet, and I hope to see all of you there.
Yes, yes. Y'all go see me stepping out. I'm about to go ahead and go shopping in the next month. Well, thank y'all so much, everyone, for coming. Be sure to tune in on Monday. We're going to be talking to Akila, PhD, about what it's like to be deaf and hard of hearing in an academic space. See y'all next time.